This is a lesson video about the logarithm defined as an integral. I think this is kind of a tough one, so I would have some paper next to you. Be ready to pause and think from time to time. And I think the harder you kind of think about this, the more meaningful this video will be. So we already know quite a bit about logarithms. And in this video, you probably won't learn any results that you didn't already know. Instead, you will learn a new way to think about these facts. So the goal is to embrace a different way of thinking. If you can think about the same problem from several different perspectives or angles, even if one of those perspectives is much more difficult, that makes you a much more well-rounded problem solver. And that is a skill you can apply to any field. So we're using that skill here in math. But the goal is if you can think deeply about something difficult in math, then you can kind of remember that experience and apply it to other areas that you will probably end up working in. Now, when natural logarithms are introduced, they are presented as the inverse to this function e to the x. And so just to kind of remind you, what was that about? So let's say here I ask you to find the inverse of this function. So what do you do to find an inverse? So you flip the x and the y like this, and then we tell you to solve for y. And then we say, oh, haha, you can't solve for y, you need to know what a logarithm is. So that's actually why we define a logarithm. We define it literally just as a way to come up with an inverse to this function, because we know that this function is one-to-one, therefore it's supposed to have an inverse. So this is how we initially present the idea of the natural logarithm, and then we get this as the inverse, and so that's all you know about it. It's just some function that was created to be an inverse to this. But now I want to talk about a different way to define the natural log of x. What if we didn't think about it just as an inverse function? How else could we define it? Well, this is where this gets kind of tricky. So we can define the natural logarithm actually as this integral. And I want you to take a second to kind of look at this, because this is kind of a unique function. You got your x here, and then you got these t's here, and there's just kind of a lot going on. And you might remember this from the Fundamental Theorem of Calculus, the first part. So I have just put the Fundamental Theorem of Calculus, the first part here, and just to kind of jog your memory, so this was like the function that you work with in the Fundamental Theorem of Calculus. So the whole design of this is kind of presented there, and we're going to use actually all of this. We're going to use all of this in this video. But you have technically kind of seen this before, and now we're going to be using this. Okay, so where I want to start is I want to talk about how do you actually graph this. And so you'll notice I have set this up in kind of a different way. So this we know is my natural logarithm of x. And I'm going to call this value, this is going to equal just v of x for now. So I just wanted to kind of set this up of like, how would you think of this as a function? But compare that to the graph. So on the actual graph, I'm not using x and I'm not using v. I have t and y here. So how do you actually graph this? So it comes in stages. So the first thing that you do is you graph this 1 over t. So this now is just in its typical xy axis. But the whole point of this is not actually to work on, like not work directly on the 1 over t, but to kind of work around it. So, for instance, the 1 here in this function, so that's talking to now the actual axis here. So I come here to this t-axis, right? And so this is kind of our starting point. And then this other x, so this x here, this is what I set. I set it someplace after the 1. So I just want you to watch the x down here for a second, just to make sure we kind of get what can happen here. So I could move the x out here. I could move it in here. It really doesn't matter where I want to put it. But then what I would do is I actually want to look at kind of this area in between, and what this function is going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to calculate this area in between. So that's what this entire function is trying to get at. Is it's really more about the area, and that 1 over t, you know, we're not using necessarily, like we're pseudo using the values of it, I guess, but the big thing is we really want the area from this, okay? Now, a couple of things to think about. how do you get to this side? So there's like kind of a fundamental error in how this is set up, because I can only get the area after 1. So how could I manipulate this to allow me to get the area over here? Well, now you got to think about your properties of integrals. So what you do is you would flip kind of the limits of integration. So like this. So I went from 1 to x, now I'm going from x to 1. Now this will have certain consequences, so you can kind of think through what consequences that might have when you flip the limits of integration, because we will see that come back up in a moment here. And so if I were to actually do this, then this means I can just set x anywhere I want now before the 1, like this, or I could set it over here, whatever you want. And then once again, I just want to like look at that space in between and calculate that area there. Now again, if you're really thinking through this, you're probably already thinking about what happens when you flip these limits of integration and what that's going to do to the area. But if you're not sure, don't worry, we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Okay, so I am now going to kind of define this in a slightly different way. So I've got this natural log, so this is how we've defined it. So we will call this the answer to this. I don't want to call this y, so I just called this like v, so just to like the value of the integral. So before I go much farther now with this, what I want to do is I want to consider what the graph of just the natural log of x looks like from this definition. So we're going to think about what we learned either from algebra or pre-calc. So using this function, so v equals the natural log of x. So again, I'm just kind of switching up the letters here. So how do you actually graph this? So, I mean, if you have a calculator, that's one thing, or another way that sometimes people graph this is they take e to the v and they use like the definition here. So however you want to graph this is fine. But ultimately, I'm going to set up a table of values. So sometimes people want to use this direction. So when they use this direction, they choose their v coordinates first. So the exponents, they choose that first. And then actually, if you kind of plug these in, you can kind of figure out like the pseudo answer to this just by looking at this, or of course you could just use a calculator. So those would be the values of this function. So however you want to do this, if you want to plug in the x coordinates first, that's fine. Or if you want to put in these, what would normally be the y coordinates, but now I'm calling them b coordinates. However you want to do this, but you want to get a table of values, right? So that's how you can graph this. And then from this table of values, so then you would just put together your graph like so. So the whole thing I just wanted to remind you of here is, what does this graph actually look like? And I want you to remember this. Maybe you even want to just sketch it someplace, because this is kind of our target. Okay, like right now, if you think about where we're at, we don't have this graph. So we're going to rethink this definition that we just talked about. Now we want to rethink it with this crazy definition, right? Because this looks nothing like the graph that I just showed you. So now remember how I'm kind of setting this up. We're going to set this up with these xv coordinates. So I'm not using values on this particular graph. So the v here stands for the value of this integral, right? And then the x here stands for where we're setting everything. So what I want to do now is I want to kind of think through this. So how would I actually get to this? So if I think of something like the natural log of 1, so if I plug 1 into this integral, so think about what that does. That just gives me, like, what is the area of this little piece here? Well, I can tell just by looking at this, right, from the area argument, this is an area of 0. Okay, so remember that, because we're going to then take this 1 and this 0. We're going to use those as values in our table. Okay, so now let's talk about the natural log of 2. So if I plug the 2 in, so here's where the 2 goes into this integration function. So if I think about where that goes, so this is really what I'm calculating here, right, from 1 to 2. So I'd have to figure out what is this area here. So I am kind of relying a little bit on a calculator, but let's pretend that we magically could just look at this and knew what the area was. Well, then I would get that the area is 0.693. Okay, so that means I have the value 2 and then 0.693. And then if I want to do 1/2, so if I plug that in, so if I wanted to do 1/2, so that's less than 1. So the only way I can get to this value is by flipping the limits of integration, right? So once again, let's pretend I can just look at this and I know what the area is. Well, what this is actually going to give me is negative 0.693. And you might be saying, whoa, it's negative. This is area. This is a problem. So this actually does make sense if you think about it for a moment, because we flipped the limits of integration. And normally when we flip the limits of integration, we put a negative on the outside, but we didn't do that here. So since there was no negative on the outside, this whole thing ends up becoming negative. Okay, so now let's put those points that we just came up with, let's put them in a table. So these are all values that we already discussed. So remember, I plugged in 1, 2, and 1/2. And then I got out the value of this integral. So as we were calculating those areas, they were these values. So if I set these up now on a graph and I just plot them as these x, v points, look at what I get. So, hooray, this is the same graph, right? This is the same graph as the natural log of x. But this is super interesting, right? Actually, like, you've never seen a graph that was defined kind of in these terms of these area calculations, right? This is a very different interpretation of what we originally thought that natural log of x graph was, but this is a very powerful, interesting way to interpret the graph. So it is very complicated, but it's very interesting, and in a lot of ways you get like a very different set of information. So, you know, thinking about the same thing two different ways, and this is much more robust and just has a lot more kind of to it. So now I just want to talk about a few consequences of how do we think about this. So just how would we actually define E now? So what I mean is like the natural log of E. So if you think about it, this would be what I would actually plug in, right? I'd put E into this. And so if we are thinking about E now in this definition, we know that this has to equal 1. Like intuitively, we know that the natural log of E should equal 1 because this is a property of logarithms. So E is the number that makes this area 1. That's actually like a new interpretation of E. Before, E was just like some number, right? You never really knew where it came from. And now it has a little bit like different interpretation in terms of area. Okay, a couple other things. How could we get to the derivative of the natural log of x? So that's initially presented in one specific way. So if I'm trying to take the derivative of this, I would be trying to take really the derivative of this integral. And previously you would have had no idea how to do that. But now we can use that Fundamental Theorem of Calculus Part 1, which I have listed here. And that literally tells us what to do in this last part. So it says to take the derivative of this integral. Well, as long as there's a number down here and x here, this is really just as simple as plugging in x. So going back to this then, that means I have the number here, x here, which means I can literally just plug the x right into this. So, you know, before we actually did a lot of work to figure out what this definition is. You might have forgotten it, or maybe it was glossed over. A lot of times it's just presented like kind of as this, or you can do some work with the inverse. But this is like now we know why this derivative is what it is. So that's kind of interesting. And then as a consequence of this, so you know, what is the integral of 1 over x? Well, you know, derivatives and antiderivatives or indefinite integrals have this relationship. So then we can just, you know, very easily say, oh, well then, you know, if I know what the derivative of natural log of x is, then the integral of 1 over x will just be equal to this. So this probably seems a little bit obvious, but just kind of pointing out, you know, there is that relationship between the two. So these are just a few consequences of this. As I said, in many ways, you did not learn anything you didn't already know. You knew a lot of these facts already. I've just shown you a slightly different way to think about them and make sense of them. And it's a little bit of a deeper way now to make sense of them. So I do have other videos kind of related to this topic and how to work with integrals and all that stuff. So feel free to check those out. I'll drop some of those links in the description. Got any questions? You can always leave me a comment. Consider liking this video. That super helps out my channel. Or when you subscribe, that also really helps me out. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.